Are you trusting your summer comfort to Puxatawny Phil? While historically Phil is only 35% accurate, Premier 100% knows summer's on the way. Get $2,000 off a new HVAC unit when you buy select high SEER energy efficient units from Premier Heating and Air. Join the Premier Club for $99 and get a free Wi-Fi thermostat. Club membership includes 20% off repairs, priority booking, annual cleaning and inspection. Call today and learn more about club benefits. Call 478-300-2633 or log on to premierishere.com. Experience a Premier difference today. A locally owned and operated company.
It's about the strong commitment to our community is what this represents. So thank you so much for continuing to support all of the St. Patrick's activities, also to support our chamber, which is very proud to be a part of this. With that being said, I would like to introduce Tammy Waverick. Tammy is part of the St. Patrick's Committee, and she is going to give our official proclamation. And then following behind her will be Dr. O.J. Hall. Dr. Hall is chair of the Dublin-Lawrence Chamber this year, so we're proud to have him there with us. And then immediately following that will be other introductions of the program. So, Tammy?
Good morning, everybody. Today, I'd like to ask for your help with the proclamation at the end. If everyone could join in with the Air and Go Bra, I think that would be a great way to welcome Carla back to Dublin. But let's get going. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. By the power vested in me, by the order of the Blarney Stone, the order of the Shillelagh, and Irish folks of all the land, I hereby proclaim this 2026 Irish Chamber Breakfast an official event of the 61st Annual Dublin-Lawrence St. Patrick's Festival. Aaron Gabra! Thanks.
Good morning, and thank you for coming to join us for the 42nd Annual Irish Chamber Breakfast. We thank you for your participation. We thank you for your support. And right before I get into the invocation, I want to just thank Ms. Dixon, our interim CEO, for the work that she is doing with the Chamber. And I also want to take a quick second to ask any of our Chamber board members to please stand. Thank you. Let us bow our heads. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to come together as a community as we kick off this wonderful month of March and celebrate St. Patrick's. Father, we thank you for the unity that is demonstrated throughout this season, and we pray that this unity will continue to flow into all the other months that are left on the calendar. Father, we want to return thanks to you for the food that we received this morning. Let it be good to the nourishments of our bodies and our bodies to your service. And Father, continue to carry us throughout this day. We pray for our speaker, that you will be with her, and we look forward to hearing from her. And we pray that you will be with her and her family. We pray that you would also give her traveling grace and mercy as she has come in and as she returns back out. In your son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And then next, coming up to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance will be Asa Avery, our 2026 Miss St. Patrick's Queen.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right, well, good morning, everybody, and it is great to see a sea of green this morning. Thank you to the Chamber and for all you guys have done to pull this event off. And Marcia, thank you for your leadership. I don't know that anybody else could do what you're doing in this interim period as we search for a permanent person, but your selflessness and dedication is very much appreciated, so thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to also take a moment to introduce a group of community leaders who do make this whole St. Patrick's season something special. and that's the St. Patrick's Festival Committee. You know, this committee is really dedicated, and they actually work year-round to make our whole festival a success and give us all the fun things that we get to do. But, you know, they work year-round for 1 month out of the year, and I just really want to thank them for that. So if you're on the St. Patrick's Festival Committee, either this year or in years past, will you stand real quick so we can recognize you? Thank you all. I don't think any of us here this morning have not had like a great moment or a great tradition that we remember as kids that this committee didn't help create. So thank you all for everything you do. Since our bank is sponsoring the event this morning, and you may have heard a little bit of news, I thought I'd take just a couple of minutes to reflect on where Morris Bank has been and where we're headed. But before I do, I'd like to ask all the team members of Morris Bank here this morning if you guys would stand up. I thank each of you for everything you do for this community, and I know everybody else in the room does too, so thank y'all very much. As most of you have heard by now, we're partnering up with another community bank in Georgia, and we're going to create a brand new community bank. But a real quick history about Morris Bank. Some of you may or may not know. We were founded right here in Lawrence County in 1954 by George Morris in the skyscraper downtown. You know, that's where GMC is now. George Morris was a very successful businessman, but more importantly, he was a philanthropist who believed in deeply giving back to this community. Many of you may or may not know that the chamber office this day and time is actually the old Morris House there on Bellevue. For most of our bank's history, we had only 2 branches, one downtown and one at the mall. It wasn't until the great financial crisis began in 2007 that we began to branch out outside of Lawrence County. It was actually during this crisis, when many other banks were shutting down either mentally or physically, that we decided to take another path and to grow. We now have 9 full-service branches in Middle and Southeast Georgia. 25 years ago, before we began branching, the bank had about $115 million in total assets. Today, when our team wakes up every morning, we go to work safeguarding and protecting over $1.6 billion in total assets. So yes, we've gotten bigger, but we haven't gotten big. We've never lost sight of who we are. We're a community bank based in Dublin, Georgia, that has grown alongside Dublin and the other communities that we serve. An important part of Morris's awesome story entails the Livingston family. Louis Livingston made the first deposit in Morris Bank in 1954. Mr. Louis, like Mr. Morris, was also a very successful businessman. And he was also one of the pioneers of economic development here in Dublin and Lawrence County. He was involved with our newly formed Development Authority when it was first getting off the ground, and he had a real passion for bringing industry and jobs to this community. Like Mr. Morris, Mr. Louis also had a passion for giving back. And that passion can still be seen in organizations all around this community, whether it be in the Communities and Schools program, the Tools program here at the OFTC, or various other programs over at Middle Georgia College. One of Mr. Louis' greatest passions was education. When you drove in this morning, you passed by a beautiful 2-story building that said Louis Livingston Hall. And that's because this particular campus and college was one of his foremost passions. He gave to it constantly. Mr. Louis always believed that a person's education was vitally important to their success in life. I had the pleasure of knowing and working with Mr. Louis for a few years before he passed. He was an extraordinary man and the definition of a true gentleman. After his passing, his daughter, Lisa Livingston, who is with us here this morning, made what I believe was one of the most selfless and forward-thinking decisions in our bank's history. Rather than keeping the bank closely held within her family, she graciously opened the door for those who worked at the bank and many others in the community to become investors in the bank. We went from having primarily the Livingston family with less than 5 shareholders to over 400 shareholders today, all of which are employees or some of those. So Lisa was willing to give up control so Morris Bank can grow. Through the dedication of its team members, again, who are all now shareholders, and through the support and the participation of countless others investors across this community, many of you who are in the room this morning. That's one thing we're extremely proud of at Morris Bank. We're widely held, and we will continue to be as we create our new bank. Our ownership isn't concentrated in just a small group of shareholders.
Introducing Kubota's Z200 series mowers with the new K-Ride comfort system. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 1.99% APR for up to 24 months.
Products you can count on, a name you can trust. That's Midstate Tractor and Equipment. Lovett Insurance, built on family values that stand the test of time. Business, home, auto. LovettInsurance.com. 478-272-6731. Stop by 510 Bellevue Avenue in Dublin. Lovett Insurance, built on family values.
Instead, it includes many people throughout our entire community. All people who believe in our bank and who believe in the future of Dublin and Lawrence County. Many of you sitting in this room today have been a part of our story, whether as a customer, a team member, or a shareholder. You had the faith and confidence to invest in and or bank with us over the years, and we can't be more appreciative. For all of you who invested, we certainly hope we've delivered strong returns for you, and we've done that for the trust you've placed in us, and we will continue to do that going forward. So when Morris Bank succeeds, its success is shared by neighbors, business owners, and families who live and work right here. Because Lisa made the decision she made many years ago, we've been able to grow, and we're proud of the individuals and businesses we've been able to help grow right alongside of us. Today, the Livingston legacy continues through a third generation, Lisa's daughter, Catherine Wilcox, who's also with us this morning. Catherine leads our loan operations department and represents that continuing connection between her family and our bank and the community. We've been very fortunate to welcome some other families along the way. Again, many of who are sitting in the audience today, but I don't want to try to name all of these families, but I will name one. That family has a name that is synonymous with community banking, and that's the Miller family. Wallace, Roger, and now Whitney Kilgo, third generation who leads our marketing, they also joined our bank alongside many other families. And we're thankful that they saddled up and they came riding with us as well. Guys, that's the thing about community banking. It's not just about dollar bills or balance sheets. It's about people. It's about family. It's about relationships that span generations. Now, over the years, we've occasionally had the big bank moniker hung around our neck, and I've always found that a little interesting. You know, when you look around Georgia today, there are only about 125 banks left in the state. To put that in perspective, in 1992, there were over 460 banks in the state. So you will continue to see the community banking industry evolve. You know, every banker in this room will tell you scale matters, technology matters, and unfortunately, regulatory expectations matter. But all these other bankers will also tell you that our industry is just like any other. If you're not growing, you're dying. So this brings me to the next chapter in our story and towards the end of my remarks. We recently announced that Morris Bank will be joining Pinnacle Bank to form a new bank called Valiant Bank. Pinnacle is much like Morris, but they're based in Elberton, Georgia. Now, by a show of hands, how many of you have been to Elberton, Georgia? It's actually more than I thought. Well, I had never been, but I figured it out real quick that to get to Elberton, Georgia, you need a pretty daggum good GPS, a full tank of gas, and a couple of hefty snacks, or a few hefty if you're like me. But Elberton is actually 4 times smaller than Dublin. So this isn't a story about Morris partnering with a big bank from a big town. This is a story about 2 community banks from 2 great Georgia communities coming together so we can preserve community banking and keep it special. When you hear the name of our new bank, Valiant, think of words like valor and gallantry, doing challenging things, doing hard things, but doing them humbly in the right way. Creating Valiant Bank will give us the size and scale we need not only to maintain our independence, but to keep growing in a changing banking environment. We're also going to stay true to our culture and to our roots. And for those of you wondering what this means locally, let me reassure you about a couple of things. First, you'll be dealing with the same folks you're dealing with today at Morris Bank. Our 2 banks have 0 footprint overlap, so we don't compete against each other in any town in Georgia. Second, the community bank products and services you receive now from Morris will not change. They may be enhanced, but only for the betterment to make your life a little bit easier. And third, I'm not going anywhere. Now, I know that this probably will disappoint some folks, but I've been blessed with the opportunity to serve as president of Valiant Bank. I've been blessed with the opportunity to serve on its board of directors and as the director of community banking. So I, along with all the other folks you see here with the bank and that are in Dublin today, they'll remain right here in their same offices. And in my role as president and director of community banking, my focus will continue to be to make sure towns, especially Dublin, and like Dublin, remain economically strong and viable for the many years ahead. Yeah, there will be some new signage and new logos, but when you see that blue, you'll know exactly who it is. And again, none of this would have been possible without all of you who have allowed us to serve you over the years, and without the Livingston family and the incredible group of Morris Bank team members, our board of directors, and the many shareholders who believed in our bank long before it was fashionable to do so. Again, many of you who are in this room this morning, and I am deeply grateful for you. Because of your support, we've been able to invest in this community and will continue to do so, supporting organizations, schools, nonprofits, and all kinds of initiatives that are going to make Lawrence County stronger. This is something we've always been proud of and something we will always be proud of. So when you see the name Valiant in the future, you'll see it as the next chapter in the story of a community bank that was born right here in Dublin, Georgia, back in 1954. It has indeed been a heck of a ride. And I can promise you this, the best days are still ahead. Still ahead for our bank, still ahead for you, and still ahead for the future of Dublin and Lawrence County. So thank you very much. Now we're going to move into a much more interesting part of the program and the real reason and person you came to hear this morning. I have the distinct privilege of introducing our guest speaker, Carla Metz is an Emmy Award-winning sports anchor who currently hosts NASCAR Live on the CW for the NASCAR Infinity Series. She's held various sports broadcast roles in Charlotte with NASCAR, the Carolina Panthers, the CW College Football, and get this, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Dirty Mo Media. Before her current role in the CW NASCAR, she was the sports director at Fox Charlotte. There she helped start a nightly news show called Charlotte Sports Live, where she covered NASCAR, the NFL, the NBA, and college athletics. Before moving to Charlotte, she worked at Midco Sports Network in South Dakota as an in-studio host and a sideline reporter covering both college football and college basketball. Carla graduated from the Georgia Southern University, Hail Southern, with a degree in communications and a minor in journalism. She was a 4-year captain of the co-ed cheerleading squad for the Eagles from 2010 to 2014. Carla is a graduate of Trinity Christian School and grew up right here in Dublin. On top of what Carla does professionally, she is also a dedicated mother of 2 children. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a hearty back home welcome to Miss Carla Metz.
I have to say, we average about 1 million viewers on Saturdays, which sounds like a lot of people, but when you actually get to see them and you're not staring at just a camera, this is a little bit more intimidating. But I am so happy to be here, and what a privilege it is for me to get to speak to so many familiar faces today in a place that has been and will always be home to me. I look across the room and I see friends and family, and I see mentors and teachers that really impacted my life. And even if I don't know you today, you should know that if you made Dublin a better place to live, that you impacted me in that way. And it's so special to get to come home, and I do get to come home quite often, and I feel like I have a sense of community for people that care for me. So I just want to thank you for that. And when I pair that with just how I grew up with my parents, I feel like I hit the jackpot early in life. I tell people all the time, I grew up the way that you hope to grow up. It's something that I wish that I could replicate for my own children. I was raised by 2 educators. My mom is an English teacher. My dad is a retired principal and a retired football coach. And to say that my brother and I were heavily influenced by how my parents lived is an understatement. My brother is a college golf coach currently, and I work in sports, reading and writing and talking for a living. So that's pretty much what my parents did, just kind of all put together. And to understand a little bit about my story and who I
With a history of over 100 years, Farmers State Bank has built our reputation on neighbors helping neighbors. We faced our trials together, and we're celebrating our accomplishments today. The future is bright, so hold fast to your dreams and join us in looking ahead. We are Farmers State Bank, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender. Farmers State Bank, banking is as easy as FSB.
There's a new place for senior care, a place with 24-hour valet service and a boutique salon, a place with all-day arts and crafts. It even has a day spa, a place that's so much like home because, well, it is home. Home Instead Senior Care, when you need personalized care in the comfort of home.
Are you tired of dealing with septic issues and messy situations that are holding you back? Do you wish you could rise above the frustration and find a reliable solution to your problems? Then look no more. Call Josh Powell and the experts at Southern Infrastructure and Construction for empowering solutions that lift you up and provide a fresh start. With years of experience and a team of professionals, Josh Powell can help you overcome any septic issues, no matter how complex, and leave you feeling relieved and confident. So pick up the phone and call right now, 595-5753, for pumping, installation, repairs, plumbing, or porta potties. You can always depend on Josh Powell at Southern Infrastructure and Construction. Don't make yourself sick by calling someone else. Call the experts today.
When I did live in Dublin, you need to understand that I had two very specific dreams when I was probably in middle school, so like 11 or 12. I wanted to be a college cheerleader, and I wanted to be a sports journalist. And to say that neither of those things came naturally to me is also an understatement. I was not very coordinated as a young girl, so much so that in the 6th grade, I was told that I was going to be moved from the cheerleading competition routine to an alternate because I had not yet learned how to do a back handspring. So my parents, being educators and being the good parents they are, they didn't rush to the coach or to the teacher then, but my dad, here we go in the backyard almost every day for probably months on end, him trying to teach me how to do a back handspring, which probably neither of us knew how to do at the time. And if you could picture this, my dad, a retired football coach, on his hands and knees, and he would tell me to try and flip over his bag in the backyard. That didn't really work out too well, and I'm not really sure who was more brave, me or you. And it came with a lot of tears, and I'm sure a lot of prayers from my mom that neither one of us hurt ourselves. And I think in that moment I learned an important lesson, right? I think it's something that we all learn in business or in our own careers, but the lesson that you learn there is that anything that you want in life is usually that you have to work for it, right? What you put in is what you're going to get out. I think there's even, a Bible verse in Colossians that talks about whatever you do, work for it as all of your might as you're working for the Lord, and I think that is an important lesson to learn. But today, that's not really the direction that I want to go in. I do think hard work is important, and I think, again, what you put in is what you'll get out. But I also just want to encourage you and share with you today that I also believe that God delights in leading and leaving his handprint on our life in such a way that we can take zero credit for it. And I think that not only strengthens our faith, but it strengthens those around us too. I mentioned wanting to get to cheer in college. Well, I did get a little bit better after 6th grade, thankfully. I got some coaches that really influenced my life and helped me get better in that department. And I got to go and cheer at the great University of Georgia Southern. And I would say even how I ended up at Georgia Southern is a story in and of itself of how God left his handprint on my life. But how that story and cheerleading influenced my broadcast career, well, I was so focused on cheerleading in school that I really didn't focus on broadcasting. I kind of put it on the back burner. I thought, this is a career that everybody wants to do, right? Or that the demand for the job would not necessarily be there. I almost talked myself out of it during school. I changed my minor to journalism, my major to communication studies to give myself a little bit broader umbrella when I graduated school. And it didn't help that, again, I was so focused on cheerleading that I didn't take any internships and I didn't do any of the things that you're supposed to do if you want to do broadcasting after school. I think just within that story, you can tell that God continued to lead me and have grace there. So after I graduated Georgia Southern, I do what everybody does, if you didn't notice from my bio, but I moved to South Dakota. Which, if you're thinking, yes, nobody does that. I still felt this pull, though, to work in sports and to do broadcasting. I just wasn't sure how that was going to look, and I got my foot in the door at a sports network there, and it was there that I really learned everything that I was probably supposed to learn in school. Writing, editing, shooting video, all the kind of grunt work of broadcast television. And still looking back, it was one of the best jobs that I ever had. I had one of the neatest schedules of, kind of a 9-to-5 job during the week and got to work football and basketball games on the weekend. And still looking back with the people that I got to work with too, they were just really great. And that part of my life always holds a special place in my heart, which made it a really difficult decision when I was told at the time, when I had kind of finally made it there, that we had to move to Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, listen, a Georgia girl like me, I wanted to get back to the Southeast. But as you can imagine, I had just kind of reached one of my dreams and my goals. We would move to Charlotte, North Carolina, and I would make connections at the time. I would apply to jobs, but I wouldn't hear back. I think a lot of people in the audience can probably understand that you apply and you don't even realize if you got the job or not, right? They don't even contact you. That's how it was for me. During that time, I had a lot of people tell me, well, you just need to, continue to be encouraged, keep going after what you want. Other people told me, well, you're not doing enough. You need to go apply to more jobs. You need to do more. You need to put yourself out there. And I don't know if you're hard-headed like me, but I usually have to do things my own way. And still God had grace for me in that time. And I do remember in that moment of not working when I was in Charlotte that I just had this peace that God was going to do something. And we know that, not necessarily do things just fall out of the sky and into your lap, but I really did have a peace that something would happen in that nature. I ended up taking a job a little bit later in NASCAR for 6 months. I archived video in their library department. So when you think about archiving video, think you're tagging people on Facebook. That's basically what I was doing. I had to take a test even to get that job of recognizing NASCAR drivers, their crew chiefs, numbers. I had never even watched a full NASCAR race until about 2019 when I took that job. At the time, though, when I was working off camera in this library role, I was thinking, God, why this job? Why am I here? I was meeting more people at the time and thought maybe there would be some broadcasting opportunities that would open up within NASCAR. Again, this was 2019, and right about that time that I thought maybe those opportunities would open, COVID hit. So it was about this time in 2020. So I lost my job temporarily. It was going to come back, but I lost my job during that time, as so many of us probably did in the room. Fast forward to July of 2020, and at this point in the journey of after we had moved from South Dakota to Charlotte, I had been off air for 2.5 years. And if you know anything about broadcasting, you know that that's a long time to be off air for somebody to give you an opportunity. At the start of July of 2020, I found out I was pregnant with my second child, my son, who actually turns 5 years old today. I have to rush back to Charlotte with Williamson's cupcakes for him right after this. But in July of 2020, I found out I was pregnant with him. At the end of the month, I would find out that my husband at the time lost his job. And like I said, 2.5 years I had been off camera. 3 days later, after he lost his job, I got a call from a television station there, who said, hey, we heard that, you've done TV before, what's your availability? This was a job that I had not applied for, and still to this day, I never interviewed for it. I started at the bottom of the totem pole there. It was the worst pay, it was the worst hours, but you know what? It was also a huge answer to prayer. Life over the next 4 years was quite chaotic, if you can imagine. I had 2 children, 2 and under. I would get home at midnight almost every night, work weekends, get up early, obviously with children like all moms and dads do. And I was pulled in all kinds of directions, physically, mentally, emotionally. Still at the same time, though, I was getting lots of neat opportunities within my job. If you are sticking with my story here, we're now in 2024, fast forwarding my story a little bit. And at the time, I had been just named the Fox sports director at Fox Charlotte. And God was so graciously allowed me to be the first female sports director in the market of Charlotte, which was a really, really cool thing. I had opportunities at the time with the Carolina Panthers, with college football, but my schedule, as you can imagine, being the sports director there, I needed a change. I needed some more time with my children. I needed just a minute to kind of breathe. And during that time, doors were closing personally for me and others were opening professionally for me, that summer of 2024, I had a tryout with NASCAR, and it's basically exactly what you think it is. And I have never been or had anything like this since, but they brought us in, we did these kind of practice shows, they filmed it, and it was just a complete tryout if they were gonna pick you or not. I called my mom after and said, well, I feel like it went pretty well. But a couple weeks later,
Allen's Heating and Cooling is your licensed Amana equipment dealer. Trust Allen's Heating and Cooling to install and service your heating and cooling unit. Allen services all brands, and with the purchase of a new Amana, offers a lifetime compressor warranty. Call Sean Clark or any of his friendly staff at Allen's Heating and Cooling, your Amana dealer. Amana lasts and lasts and lasts.
Hi, I'm Tom Dominy. Here at Dublin Wind Nelson, we pride ourselves on providing the industry's highest quality products at the most competitive pricing. We are a full-service wholesaler specializing in plumbing, irrigation, and industrial products. With a staff that collectively offers more than 50 years of expertise, our team knows your industry, and we can answer your questions and help you get the parts and equipment you need. From Moen to Renee, we carry the plumbing, irrigation, and industrial products you need from the brands you trust. We also carry a great lineup of Milwaukee tools. At Dublin Wind Nelson, our goal is the long-term success of your business. We achieve that goal with a simple commitment, doing things right, one customer at a time. If you have a question, or if you're looking for a hard-to-find part, give us a call. Our experts are ready to help. Order online, give us a call, or come by at 507 Airport Road in Dublin. We're committed to building long-term relationships with our customers by earning your business every day.
At Georgia First Bank, you can experience the best of both worlds from anywhere using our mobile banking app, or visit our brand new state-of-the-art bank at 303 Industrial Boulevard in Dublin. When you come into Dublin or any of our locations in Soperton or Vidalia, you're going to feel right at home. We have built our brand and our business for almost 120 years on old-fashioned face-to-face relationship banking, local lending decisions, and friendly service from someone you know. Since we opened our doors on June 1st, 1903, you have been our top priority. Come see us today in Dublin, Soperton, or Vidalia. It's Georgia First Bank, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender. Since we were founded, the Houston Clinic has sought to provide the most advanced orthopedic services available to men, women, and children of all ages and all walks of life. And today, Dr. Gay and Dr. Richter continue the tradition of service in the Lawrence County communities. From our sports teams through every facet of this community, the Houston Clinic is not only proud to serve you, we deem it an honor. The Houston Clinic, 100 Medical Drive, Suite 400 in Dublin.
I got a call from their talent person who kind of just, reviews everything with you. And I got through that talk with her over the phone, and I thought, well, I should reconsider everything. I should quit my job. I am the worst broadcaster in the history of sports. And I thought, wow, I kind of looked at all of my options in front of me. And of course, I was a sports director at the time, and I was thankful for that job. But again, I just felt like so many of my options were running dry. Again, that was summer of 2024. Fast forward 6 more months, I had moved into a new home. And was going through a lot of things emotionally and physically. I feel like, we all get to that point in life, at some point in our life, where you feel like you're just completely spent with where you're at. And that's really how I was with where I was in my career, and knowing that, I needed more time again with my children. So October 16th, I keep a prayer journal quite often, but that morning I was like, God, you've got to do something. I went into my closet in my bedroom, which is where I do my serious praying. And I got down on my hands and knees that day, and I said, God, I don't know what you can do, but I need you to do something. And I kid you not, by 5 p.m. that afternoon, I had an email from NASCAR offering me the job that I have today. this is like when you talk to your mom on the phone, the emotions come out. That's what it's like talking to the hometown crowd. That's a lot to summarize. It was even more to live in the past 10 years of my life, but a few things that I realized that I hope that you take away with you today, just through the timeline of my story and the way that God worked things out in a way that I can't take credit for, is that God gives you dreams for a reason. There's things that he puts on your heart today, whether it's from a young age or maybe spontaneously, that he puts in your life. And he wants to do things through you, right? But our responsibility within that is to hold all of those dreams loosely and let him, figure out how you're going to get there. Because if you're anything like me, you have plans, but they rarely end up looking like how you think they're going to look. And the thing about that is that God gets the glory in all of that, right? Because it was his idea anyway to give you that dream. So we might as well give him the rest of the story to work it out. God also wastes nothing along the way. If you go back into my story and you look at the job that I took at NASCAR for 6 months archiving video, at the time I could not tell you why I took that job, but that ended up being the most important decision that I made as far as my career and where I am today. Why did he answer my, directly answer my question on October 16th? I'm not sure, other than I'm sitting here telling you that I asked him that morning, and he answered, and he does do that. So I think, you can come to the end of your rope a lot of times, and God is going to come through and show you that, he's the answer for all of those things. I think back to my time in South Dakota. I have 2 beautiful babies from my move there. And I also just got a call this past weekend while I was out at Phoenix for the race from one of my only best friend during the time that I lived out there, and she told me that she had given her life to Jesus. Which is amazing, that God might have sent me to South Dakota for just one. I promise I'm going to get through this. I think so many times in life we're striving and we're doing, and and if we're not striving and doing and going on to the next thing and getting so wound up in our own plans, we're probably sitting and waiting and worrying. And I think God doesn't want us to do any of those things. I think a lot of times God is asking for us to simply have faith. And faith is a really interesting thing, because when you're younger, you think, well, having faith, that's easy. Well, just have more faith. When you get older and you're in the trenches of life, it is a really hard thing to do and to practice. But I do believe that God asks us to not only have faith, but to ask him. Ask him about the things that, you're worried about, or the things that are going on in your life, and not as a genie in a bottle, and not some prosperity gospel, because I'll tell you, all these things worked out for me, but it came with a lot of pain and a lot of grief, but it also came with his presence. And I think there's a verse in Exodus where Moses is about to be given the promised land. God's going to give him the promised land, and he says, this is yours, but I'm not going to go with you. And Moses said, well, if you're not going to go with me, then I don't want to go. And I feel like, I'm at the place in my life now where I do feel like unless his presence is with me, no matter the grief or the hurt, that's the whole purpose of everything, is that he is with you. So if you're waiting on something this morning, no matter how old you are, or if you feel like you missed your chance, or if you're walking through a door this morning that doesn't necessarily make sense, I just want to encourage you today just to have faith in that next step. I think sometimes he just wants us to be faithful with the very next step, even when we can't see any further in front of us. And be faithful in asking him. If you've asked him once, ask him 1,000 times over, because I just think he wants to hear from us, and he also wants us to set him up, kind of this altar in our mind, for him to do something special. And then watch and see how he leaves his handprint on your life. And don't be surprised, very much like my story, if he does it so in a way that you can take zero credit for it. Thank y'all.
So I think we all are impressed with Carla and how well she has succeeded in her life, and we know the handprint that God gave her and the direction certainly has led her to a very peaceful place in her life right now. And we would like to present her with the St. Patrick's jacket. And next Tuesday, which is the 17th, hopefully she can wear it on one of her news shows and tell them that she's from Dublin, Georgia, and she is so proud to be here. Okay, it's always great to have hometown young adults come back and share their stories of success, and it certainly gives everyone inspiration here. Carla talked a good bit about her parents, Doug and Wanda Metz, and I have to say, I think so many of you know the family, and know the Hester family and the Metz family, and that they have been here a long time in our community. But one thing that is very special is that Doug and Wanda both are teachers. And they, of course, have had a handprint on many of the students through the years. And sometimes I think we don't say enough thanks to our school teachers for their dedication and the work that they do. They work both at home and with young children and young adults, and then they get to school and do the same thing, and hopefully making a positive influence. So if you're a teacher, either active or retired, please stand and let us recognize you. Thank you very much for what you do and continue to do. Very important for our future. Carla talked a good bit about God and family, and just within the last hour we said the Pledge of Allegiance. And if you remember, there's 4 words in there that is so important that we need to think about. It says, one nation under God. One nation under God. We all said that, but do we really think about what we're saying when we repeat that? And I kind of feel led to say this in my heart. For those of you who may have seen the Olympics, watched it in and out the last couple of weeks, if you remember the men's soccer team that was representing the United States, do you remember when that young man, I think his name was Jack Hughes, kicked that winning goal, and he came running off the field, 2 front teeth missing, a bloody mouth, and he had the U.S. flag draped around his shoulders. And he said something that was so important. He said, I am proud to be an American, and I am proud to represent the USA.
Mid-State Pools and Spas welcomes spa season with a full lineup of spas from Marquee and Strong. Choose from award-winning comfort and a variety of sizes that'll make spa season your favorite season of all. Shop now for a great selection of pool and patio furniture at Mid-State Pools and Spas, with locations in Dublin, Warner Robins, Sandersville, and Vidalia. Mid-State Pools and Spas, this area's most trusted pool and spa dealer.
Hello, my name is Paris Williams with Take It to Paris Home Care, your structured family caregiving provider. If you have a disabled loved one that's on Medicaid, did you know that you can get paid? Give us a call at 478-772-3044. We have some amazing team members that will be happy to help you and walk you through this process of getting paid to take care of your loved one. Again, my name is Paris Williams with Take It to Paris Home Care.
Hi, I'm Perry Williamson, and we've been baking here at Williamson's Bakery since 1927. In 1965, my grandfather, Merle Williamson, hung our name on this bakery. Ever since then, people have been stopping in for the Williamson's tradition. We invite you to do the same here at 1634 Veterans Boulevard, or catch us on Facebook, or just come get you some.
I know our country is not perfect. And I think if we went around the room, there's not a single person in here that wouldn't say there's something that they would like to see changed in our country. But y'all, we live in the best place. We live in a great country. And I think this group here, I can honestly say, I think this is a group that prays. And I think there's a couple of things that we need to think about. Number one, we need to pray that God's hand will be on our country. We need to also pray for our military, and we also need to pray for their families because they are all going through a lot. And I think as we say the pledge that we need to think about what it really means. One nation under God, and that's us. So please remember that as we go home, as we think about ourselves, let's think about those others that need God's healing hand and his touch. And as St. Patrick says in his one of his words of wisdom, may God's hand and healing blessings be with you until we meet again. Thank you for being part of the Chamber Breakfast. Thank you for being here. Thanks to the Mars Bank for being our sponsor. And we hope to see you again next year. And thanks to the staff back there. I see them. They did a lot of work at the Chamber, and I appreciate them very much to make this happen.
S&S Western Boots, family owned and proudly serving Middle Georgia. Step into the spirit of the West with authentic Western and urban wear, handcrafted exotic boots, custom hats, belts, and so much more. So whether you're dressing for work, the weekend, or the rodeo, S&S has the quality and style you're looking for. We're family owned and community strong, right here in Dublin at 1951 Highway 441 South. Call 478-279-0398 and step into a look that's all your own. Don't forget, it's S&S Western Boots, Highway 441 South in Dublin. S&S Western Boots, authentic, bold, and unforgettable.
Townsend Brothers Funeral Home is proud to sponsor these St. Patrick's events and reminds you to get out and enjoy the St. Patrick's Festival here in Dublin and Lawrence County. Townsend Brothers Funeral Home, a proud sponsor of the St. Patrick's Festival, serving our community since 1937.
Looking for your first home or your dream home? You can always depend on XL Realty Group. Our agents are committed to providing you with the highest quality client and customer service. Call one of our agents today. Tiffany Green, Yvonne De Silva, Joe Dudley Jr., Latasha Harrell, Reggie Mack, Jo Beth Bailey Rozier, Brittany Stanley, Haven Stanley, Portia Willis, or Tara Williams. When making the type of investment that buying a home requires, you need to call the experts at XL Realty Group.
Good morning. We're here at TV 35 with the Chamber and the wonderful Chamber Breakfast that they have annually. This is a 42nd annual Chamber Breakfast. We have our 2026 Miss St. Patrick's Queen here. We're going to get her name and find out all about her. So young lady, tell us who you are.
Hello everyone, my name is Asa Avery. I'm a sophomore here at Trinity Christian School and I'm 16 years old.
Wow, so Avery, at 16 you are Miss St. Patrick's. How
Yes,
does it
ma'am.
feel to be the Queen for 2026?
I'm honored. I hope that I serve my community well and I show all the girls that are coming up before me what it means to serve your community with love and share God's word while doing it.
Wonderful. So who are your parents, the lucky parents of this wonderful Queen?
So my mom is Abby McAllister. She's a local business owner. She owns Fancy Dancer here in Dublin. And then my dad is Perry Avery. He's an attorney. And then my stepdad is Brandon McAllister.
Okay, so let's hear all about the process of being queen. So when you first filled out the application, did you understand what your responsibilities were?
Yes, ma'am. My responsibilities as Miss St. Patrick's is to be a role model and demonstrate what a young girl should do in our community and serve our community well and go to all the events and say hey to everyone, say hey to the young girls, and be an influence for everyone.
Okay, so now that you've gone through the process, if another queen came up in 2027, was getting ready to do the process, what would you tell her to do differently that you didn't know to do?
Well, I would say just be yourself. I was really nervous. I was myself, but obviously the nerves can kick in, but I would say be yourself, be who God made you to be, and get out there and serve your community.
That is great information.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me tell you, you're going to make us so proud, but we want to know, what are your aspirations now? When you do graduate from high school, what would you like to do?
My goal is to attend the University of Georgia, go Dogs.
Okay.
And I would like to become an investigator in the GBI and maybe the police department, but hopefully the GBI.
Well, we need you there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? It's so nice to meet you. You're a
You
beautiful
too.
queen. I wish you
Thank
lots
you.
of success in high school.
Yes,
and we're
ma'am.
looking for great things from you, young lady.
Thank you.
Representing Dublin, Georgia.
Yes, ma'am, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
What's progress? It starts with the dream that sharpens into a goal. Next comes ingenuity, harnessing technology and design to evolve mobility. Finally, passion, made for a tribe of enthusiasts, begging for an open throttle. This movement was designed from the beginning to silence doubt and shatter expectations. Our progress may appear rapid, but for the community we build for, it can't come soon enough. And now it's here. Our passion answers the calls for the fierce and committed. We dedicate our ingenuity to be proven and unbreakable. And we dream with the inspired and obsessed. This is our time. Our progress is undeniable. Skeptics say we're coming, but our squad knows. We've already arrived. CF Moto. Experience more.
Hi, I'm Greg. Come see our full lineup of off-road vehicles, side-by-sides, and ATVs at Shamrock Honda Kawasaki.
Progressive Rural Telephone Co-op offers a full range of communication products and services to its members in Lawrence County and surrounding areas. We take pride in being your total communications provider, and we work hard to provide quality services at the best prices. In addition to offering phone service, we provide high-speed internet and digital high-def TV. And we always strive to put our members first. Progressive Rural, your total communications company. Small enough to know you, large enough to serve you. ProgressiveTel.com. Call 478-984-4201 or stop by 890 Simpson Avenue in Rents. Progressive Rural Telephone Co-op.
All right, we're back here at TV 35 at the wonderful 42nd Annual Irish Chamber of Commerce Breakfast. And we have our junior Miss St. Patrick's here. What's your name, young lady?
My name is Molly Kate Dollar. I'm 13 years old and I go to Trinity Christian School.
So you are a Dollar. So who are your parents?
My mom is Mindy Dollar and she's the administrator at Christ Chapel Dublin. And my dad works at Bank of Dudley as the president of Commercial Line.
Okay, some proud parents who have the junior Miss St. Patrick's this year. So what was the whole process like of being in the pageant?
It was very fun to be able to go with all the other girls and just be able to lift each other up with encouragement. And it was a great experience to be able to compete against everyone. And really, I didn't know how they judged it because everyone looked so amazing. And it's like a sisterhood to be able to do it together. And it's just a great experience. And it helps with confidence and just everyone being together. and all the family who comes to support, and all of it just makes me really excited for all the events to come.
So now, being that you won Miss Junior St. Patrick's, what did you do that took you over the top?
So really just getting to go to all these things. I didn't understand at first how many like events and special like things that I would get to come to throughout March. And I'm excited for the parade too, because I always loved watching the parade growing up.
Now you're
so,
in it.
Yes, ma'am. Now I'm in it.
Right.
So I'm excited to be in the parade and for all the more events to come. And so far, it's been a great experience.
Good for you. So now you are what grade?
8th.
8th grade. So you're going to go through high school. And what are the things that you love to do in high school?
I think I'm going to do like cheerleading and tennis, and I really like learning about healthcare and things like that.
Okay.
So sciences and stuff like that in high school I feel like I'll enjoy in science classes.
So when you graduate from high school, what should we expect from you as a career?
I'm kind of been buried around a little bit because it's hard to decide with all the many choices.
Yes.
But I want to do something in the medical field, and I feel like I want to do like something in cardiology and maybe a surgeon. So I want to do something in the medical field like that, which takes a lot of work in school and hard work. So.
But you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're going to be really, really proud of you even more once you graduate and come back to Dublin and show
Yes,
us
ma'am.
exactly who you turn out to be. I know your parents are proud.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? So congratulations again, Miss Junior St. Patrick's, right here at TV 35. Don't go away.
It's that time again. Spring is around the corner at Roach Farm and Garden. It's still cold outside, so come on in to Roach Farm and Garden. Insulated bibs and jackets are $10 off and 10% off of all long sleeve shirts. Achy, cold, wet feet? Come on in to Roach Farm and Garden. Georgia boots, Ariat, Rocky, $20 off marked price. Stickers and weeds in your yard? Now is the time to apply herbicides. Stop into Roach Farm and Garden and speak to one of our professionals. Primo's Ceramic Grill, Bayou Classic Fryers, Blackstone Griddles, Traeger Grills. Roach Farm and Garden has you covered for outdoor cooking. Red, white, and gold. Hurry into Roach Farm and Garden and pick up a couple of bags of seed potatoes while they last. Come on into Roach Farm and Garden where we carry feed and pet supplies for just about everything. Fruit trees, and fruit trees. Roach Farm and Garden has got a huge shipment just in time to plant. Rockers, crotters, benches, and perhaps the largest inventory of cement statues around. Come on in to Roach Farm and Garden. Chickens, bunnies, and garden vegetables arriving this week. From your home to the farm and everything in between. Come on in, Roach Farm and Garden. 2 locations, Dublin and Wrightsville.
At Balanced Aesthetics Weight Loss and Wellness, we believe everyone deserves to feel confident, healthy, and supported. That's why we've brought advanced aesthetic, wellness, and weight loss services together under one roof, right here in the heart of Dublin. With the latest advanced technology, including radio frequency facial skin tightening, laser facial skin rejuvenation, painless hair removal, and laser treatment of spider veins. Our aesthetic services are designed to deliver real results at accessible prices. Your weight loss journey matters to us. We offer insurance-friendly visits, flexible self-pay options, and personalized plans that keep you motivated and encouraged every step of the way. We also provide a range of wellness services, including hormone pellets and testosterone replacement therapy, all focused on helping you feel better from the inside out. Proudly serving Dublin with additional locations in Tifton and Eastman. Balanced Aesthetics, where wellness meets beauty. Financing available. Call 839-BALANCE or visit us at 1022 Hillcrest Parkway, Suite 104 in Dublin today.
We're back here at TV 35 talking to the wonderful speaker today at the Dublin-Lawrence County Chamber of Commerce's 42nd Annual Irish Chamber Breakfast. And we have Mrs. Carla Metz here. Carla, you are a Dublin native.
I am.
We are so proud of you. We need to hear more about what you're trying to do in order to inspire the rest of us in what you're doing. We heard your story.
Right.
But we're talking about just having faith
Right.
in all that you were trying to get done. Tell us more about how you work with faith, even on your job.
Yeah, no, I think, well, first of all, I think it's great to be back in Dublin. I'm from Dublin and lived here, almost my whole life until I moved out after college. But I think, working in NASCAR, I had a dream even when I lived here in Dublin, probably middle school age, to be in broadcast and sports broadcasting. And I just think, I had that dream, but God had a totally, different perspective on how that would look. I thought a little bit about that it would kind of carry out the stick and ball sports background, but he chose NASCAR for me instead in Charlotte, North Carolina, of all places. And I think, just with him leading me through my career, all the different steps that I've talked about today, and it's just built my faith that in everything, he's going to work it out.
Yes.
And it might look different, but that, it just takes trust and it takes faith in him in order for him to accomplish what he wants to do. And I couldn't see that at the time.
Of course.
But, now that I'm, a couple years removed from everything, I can look back and totally see his hand and all of it and how he worked everything out.
It was amazing to hear you talk about the job that you took, that you really didn't know why you took it.
Right.
And it helped you prepare for the job that you have now.
Yeah.
I mean, those things really do matter for kids who are trying to take a job and they say, well, I really don't want to do that part. I just want to get to the fun part.
Right.
But it doesn't take always the fun part to make your job amazing and thorough. You got to really know the ins and outs of everybody else's jobs around you in order to make your job work. And you can tell them, no, you didn't do that part right.
Right.
This is what you're supposed to do because you know the job already.
Right.
So I understand exactly what you're saying there. I want to know, though, being in a male-dominated field, how do you work around all those guys in order to really be respected in this particular profession?
Yeah, I mean, I think, first of all, I grew up with a dad as a football coach. My brother's a college coach right now, so I kind of grew up in that sports lingo around, other guys. And so I think that, number one, kind of helped things. But honestly, I think I would just tell women in general, just be yourself. Okay. And be open and make friends. And, I don't know how most women feel about this, but I get tabbed as one of the guys sometimes in the group. And I think, I love that because I think that means that they're comfortable with me. And honestly, there might have been a few times where I felt like I've gotten passed over for being a woman rather than a male in a male-dominated sports and field. But for the most part, I would say I'd had majority of great experiences with the men that I've worked with and family men that, again, just kind of embraced me as a friend and a coworker, right? And that's what you want in any field, no matter what you work in and no matter who you work with. So I just, encourage people to be themselves and just be, just be open to all the different personalities that you're going to come in contact with.
Okay, so some young ladies are going to watch this.
Yes.
They're going to say, oh my gosh, she's doing something that I want to do. And I know you really wanted to prepare for this profession. So what could you tell them to do that now that they're in high school and then they'll go to college? What can you tell them to do that you didn't do that you know they should be doing?
Yeah, and I mentioned that in the speech. I didn't do all the things that you think you should do in order to get this job. I kind of took a totally different route, but I would say that there's a lot of things that you can do. You can do internships, you can shadow people that that have jobs. I know I've done that for several people that want to get into my profession, and I think just starting anywhere, right? Having the openness of taking whatever job, whatever it looks like. It might not be on camera right away. It might be, in the field that you want to be in, but again, you might not have any insight to how you're going to get there. But I promise if you get in and you work hard at what you're doing and then you make connections and you let people know, hey, I'm doing this now, but this is what I want to do. Usually you'll meet people along the way that want to help you get there. And I think that was really a lot of my path too, is just being open in that communication and taking the job that nobody else wants to do, because there's a lot of people in life that don't want to take the smaller job.
That's right. There's a purpose for you, and that's why you're there.
Right.
You are. We don't know if that's where you'll land eventually or years down the line, but you're in a purpose that God has for you to show us what's possible.
Right.
And so all of that was a part of your faith, just trusting God. This whole journey right now is going to help us all understand God can take us from one place to the next.
Right.
We just trust Him. We'll get it.
Yeah, and I would say too, off that point, is that I work in NASCAR and broadcasting, but God wants to do more than just me me covering race cars every Sunday and Saturday, right? It's less about what I'm doing and more about who I'm meeting and what I'm talking to them about. And there's been so many opportunities, even in NASCAR the last 2 years with my current role, where I have talked about God to people that, you know, I would have never been put in front of otherwise. And I think that's an important part of whatever you're doing, if you're a teacher or a coach or whatever profession. Yes, you want to do your job well because it keeps you in that job, but it's more about what's going on around you too.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, we're so proud of you.
Oh, thank
I'll
you.
just say that. I can't say it enough.
Thanks.
I'll say it so much.
Thank
around
you.
Here around TV 35. We thank you for coming back, being the speaker here. We hope you come back and visit Dublin again and let us know all of the interesting things you're doing. We're going to watch you on the CW.
Okay. Yeah.
And just be proud and smile that we have a homegrown celebrity who happens to represent us well and who's faithful in God. We thank you so much. Again, from TV 35, this is Shanita Hunt.